Uma, alive and safe. Kain, you have all our thanks.
I can follow orders when it suits me. We met the Sarafan Lord.
He showed himself?
He is a touch more powerful than I expected. And he has the Soul Reaver. Strange that you did not tell me this at the first.
You are not ready to fight the Sarafan Lord. I told you that.
It was only by good fortune that we escaped. Vorador, I must speak with you.
You have information for us, I know. You may speak.
I was in the heart of the main factory in the industrial quarter. Before the guards discovered me, I had found a huge central chamber that housed some kind of magic portal. This portal looked into a place the likes of which I had never seen before. And this portal was held open by a single source of magic, a stone set on a pedestal. Vorador, I believe it was the Nexus Stone.
The Nexus Stone? Of course.
What is this thing? Explain.
The Nexus Stone is an item of great power. It can bend time and space to create doorways to any location within Nosgoth. I know not why the Sarafan Lord would be using it within the industrial quarter, but we could put it to great use.
And what use is that?
One who wears the stone cannot be harmed by the Soul Reaver.
And is this but a legend, to be proved false at the fatal moment?
Oh no, no legend at all. It has been proven. The Sarafan Lord wore the stone when he defeated you 200 years ago.
What?
How else could he have resisted the power of the Soul Reaver? You were unable to use the sword's power, and without it, he was able to defeat you.
Then I shall take the stone and use it to kill him. But know this, when I recover it, I will also claim ownership of it. I trust that is understood.
Then you commit yourself to fighting the Sarafan Lord? There can be no turning back.
I was committed to that from the moment you revived me. Nothing will turn me away.
So be it. You must use the subway to reach the industrial quarter, which lies in the northeastern part of the city. Find your way past the gate that blocks the townspeople from entering. But perhaps we may leave that to your invention. Uma?
Once in the quarter, look for the main factory complex. It is there that the stone is held.
I will return with the Nexus Stone and the Sarafan Lord's head. I left the relative safety of Sanctuary and ventured once more into the night. The industrial quarter of Meridian was, I discovered, a heavily guarded fortress. Rather than assault it directly, I stole into the workers' commons and began my quest for the Nexus Stone there.
Okay, we have gotten the industrial quarter. We gotta go find this Nexus Stone thing. Exactly what the Sarafan are using the Nexus Stone for is unknown, but we do know what its purpose is, and that was to it defends a person from the power of the Soul Reaver. Now, the Soul Reaver was a weapon that we encountered back in Blood Omen, and the idea was that, I mean, the storyline behind it wasn't really elaborated much on back in that game. But what it did was, it basically operated as sort of an ultimate weapon in the game. Not specifically the most useful weapon in the game, because it was difficult to use. It required all of your magic power to use it even once. And it required both hands, so you couldn't use any spells while equipping it, and some other crap. So it basically made the Soul Reaver a difficult weapon to utilize. But when you did utilize it properly, you had the magic and you swung it, it could kill bosses with one hit. Very powerful weapon, but difficult to use. And the storyline didn't really provide any information on it, saying it was just older than anybody and blah blah blah. Eventually in the game Soul Reaver 2, which chronologically somehow takes place before this point in the game, in the series and history, as well as taking place after, which is confusing as shit. But it's discovered that the Soul Reaver is actually was originally designed as a weapon by vampires called the Reaver, not the Soul Reaver, and the idea was that it would consume the blood of anybody it kills, which is a pretty big departure from what it does now, which is consume the souls of the people that it attacks. How it eventually gained this soul-stealing ability was because it took control of Raziel's body back in Soul Reaver 2 and plunged itself into his chest in the attempt to steal his soul. And it would have succeeded had Kain not ripped it out of his chest. But and the attempt was, what Kain was probably trying to do was to prevent the Soul Reaver from consuming Raziel's soul for whatever reason, and to change history. It didn't end up working. I mean, he did stop the Soul Reaver from consuming Raziel's soul, but it didn't, at that time though, it didn't actually change history, because as Raziel faded away, he realized that the Soul Reaver was still tied to him, it was still like bound to him. It was still his soul trapped in the Soul Reaver. So at some point later on in the future, his soul was still eventually going to be consumed by it. So the Soul Reaver, as confusing as it is, because of the bizarre, chronology of this series, the Soul Reaver that the Sarafan Lord holds has the soul of Raziel stuck in it, trapped in it, imprisoned in it. But Raziel is dead right now, and he has yet to be resurrected as the Wraith, which... Why was she in there with her swords and everything? He has yet to be resurrected so we can eventually get his soul trapped in there. So it's really screwed up, but, you know. You'd really have to start from the beginning to really get a good understanding of this series and how the timeline works and all that stuff. It's a new type of enemy, by the way. What? If this was a jail cell, why would she have her weapons, and why... Hold on. Ah shit, there are two guys out there I wanted to kill. I guess I can't do it now. So Raziel had yet to be resurrected because Kain hadn't done that yet, but somehow his soul had already been absorbed, and because of time travel, so the Raziel from the future went to the past, got his soul stolen by the Reaver, blah blah blah. In any case, Kain had gained access to the Soul Reaver back in Blood Omen and used it as his personal weapon from that point forward. During the battle for Meridian, back when the battle in the opening cinematic of the game took place...
Were you followed? These humans never look twice in my direction. Little do they realize their future lord walks among them. Now, tell me of this place.
Uma tells me the Nexus Stone will be found in the main factory beyond the dam. There will be a gondola to take you there. If this is deactivated, you must look below for the glyph to repower it. But be careful of the guards.
Have you any further wisdom to dispense?
I sense the presence of another vampire close by. He may be watching you. I will whisper you again when it is needful.
Once again, I began to feel the obligations of power, to deal justice fairly to all. One day my people would know me again for their lord, but the vampires who were traitors to their kind would know me first of all.
Okay. Sarafan Lord has the Soul Reaver now, so we gotta find some way of neutralizing that advantage. Come on. Thought that would work. I guess it wasn't. These enemies here have much wider and slower swings with their swords. Theoretically, I would assume that would make it easier to counter and block the attacks. But using the advanced blocking method that I'm using, where you gotta tap the button for each blocking attempt, it's actually a little bit harder because of the different speeds in which they block. Level up! The different speeds in which they block, it actually makes blocking their attacks more difficult. Oh, okay, I need the glyph power. There it is. Whoa! That's uncalled for. There's meat hanging from a stick. That's a crossbow. Don't see her using it, though. Where'd that guy go? Why is his face so much darker than the rest of his body? Is he wearing gloves? No, none of that makes any sense. He's got the craziest farmer's tan I've ever seen. Alright, glyph time. Hi. Standing on the edge. Ooh, look at that. Over there on the floor, there's a new weapon. Check this out. It's like Darth Maul's lightsaber here. And check out this execution animation. This is awesome. Oh! Crazy as it sounds, that is actually not going to be a lethal attack to a majority of the enemies in this game. Okay, I gotta find some way of getting back up there. I guess I can do it from here. I believe this weapon is also rather fragile, so it's going to break before too many uses. Expect Kain to be able to jump higher. Ah, shit, I'm falling. Falling all the way down. This version of Kain that we're playing is unfortunately doesn't really come across to me as being an incredibly powerful individual, unlike the Kain that Kain is considered to be like one of the most powerful vampires ever, but being depowered as he is, his movements are slow and all that kind of stuff, and the controls for this game are rather stiff, so it doesn't really seem like he's really a terribly powerful individual right now. Once we get to the game Defiance, how powerful he really is comes across much better. What is this shit about? Whoa! Pirate! Ah, you bastard. Gotta stop that damn music. I'm not quite entirely sure, like, what kind of level of technological development these people are supposed to be at. On one hand, they can build some predator. Those bricks are gigantic. They can build some rather significant examples of architecture, large, sort of semi-modern looking buildings, although the interiors of which are constructed rather weird. And this glyph energy, it gives them something like at least sort of resembling electrical power. But everybody's running around with swords and crap, so that's kind of weird. And of course, by the time Soul Reaver happens, they're able to build like even larger things. In fact, there's a gigantic factory built for nothing more than the purpose of spewing smoke out into the sky so the weaker vampires can wander into the sunlight without being killed. A lot of people, a lot of mugs, but not enough people. The hell is that? Dumbass.
You're finished.
Die, damn it. Bye-bye. And you're dead. Oh, shish kebab. Switch behind us. Oh, the switch is all over the place. Hi. See what these do. Fire. This guy doesn't even seem to notice I killed a bunch of people in this room. Okay. Guess it's just a simple puzzle. It's been quite a long time since I played this game. So I was anticipating maybe, even though I remember the puzzles being pretty easy, I considered maybe I'd have some difficulty getting through a few of them. And I mean, there's ones where I just simply forgot to do and wandered around like an idiot for a minute or two. But for the most part, the puzzles in this game are easier than I even remember them being. Okay, we're rounding up on 20 minutes, so once I get out of this room, I'm gonna just end this episode. Can't go into the darkness. What's gonna happen with that? Oh, It's like the shrinking ray. Oh, it's putting off glyph energy. That's cool. That's where they... Well, I mean, who knows where the glyph energy actually comes from. That seems to be where they charge up their glyph batteries at. It's pretty cool. Anyway, we got through that room. 20 minutes. Episode ends.